Hey you guys, welcome back to Mercury Minded Tarot. My name is Chelsea, and for today's reading I considered all of the requests that I received over on my Tumblr, which I will have linked down in the description box below, along with all of my other social medias. Little shameless self-promo there. So the request that I received was for a reading covering a future child, or what your future children may be like. And I won't lie, I've never done a reading like this. I've never watched a reading like this, so I'm not quite sure what all we're going to get, but hopefully it'll be some nice surprises. With that being said, I'm going to take us over to the groups where you can take your pick, and then I will meet you there. All right, everybody, here we have our 4 groups. Now, I want to throw it out there to those of you that like using a visual aid or utilizing crystals to help you pick on a group. Fast forward a little bit and I will have some crystals on top of here to help you do so. For the rest of you though, here are your groups with nothing on top. We have group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. So go ahead, use whatever method you need to in order to pick the group that is calling to you. Think in your mind, ask yourself the question, what is my future child going to be like? What traits, what qualities will my future child have? Those are the kind of questions you want to ask yourself right now while you do this. And once you have selected your group, I will have all of the timestamps listed down below in the description box in order for you to fast forward and skip ahead to your selected group. And once you have done that, I will see you there. Okay, so if you skipped forward because you like using crystals, here you go, just for you. I have group 1 with the rose quartz. I have group 2 with a piece of sodalite. Group 3 has this tumbled fluorite. And over here in group 4, we have the banded amethyst. So go ahead, take your time, ask yourself the question, what is my future child going to be like? What qualities or attributes does my future child have? And once you have selected whichever group is calling to you, I will have all of the timestamps listed down in the description box below for you. So you can just skip ahead to your group and I will see you there. Okay, so if you selected group 1 or the tumbled rose quartz piece, here are some of the tarot cards that I've pulled for you. I'm going to go over these and then don't fret. I do have a second stack of oracle cards that I'm going to reveal here shortly to further clarify any information for us. Okay, so let's see here. We have the 7 of Wands, the 8 of Swords, and the 10 of Cups, all here to represent your future child, group 1. I want to say right off the bat, I am picking up a more mutable type of energy. Those would be the signs Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces. But specifically, I'm leaning more towards Gemini. I mean, of course, we also have the 7 of Wands, which can be fire, but for some reason, I'm getting a very heavy air influence from this child, group 1. And I feel them to be incredibly smart and incredibly opinionated. This is, like I said, this could be a fire sign somewhere in the chart, but the 7 of Wands is very passionate and they stand up for their beliefs. They stand up for their causes. This child seems to have confidence, group 1, but it's almost like sometimes I don't want to say over-exaggerate that, but this child of yours, group 1, they may try to appear even more confident than they already are. They may try to put on this bravado, like this face of they can do anything, nothing can touch them, they're fearless. And saying that, I'm also getting the message that for some of you, this child may be a bit scrappy growing up. And by scrappy, I mean maybe just little fights here and there, maybe a couple altercations while they're growing up. Not big fights, but especially like if someone says something about their family, if another classmate or another child insults them, insults a family member, I do see this child, group 1, wanting to stand up to that. They will not tolerate any disrespect and they're not afraid to get scrappy about it. Kind of feeding off that, group 1, I do feel like this child will prefer to be in control in most situations. Like I said, they have that passion, they have that self-confidence, which lends itself to these really amazing leadership abilities. They do not like being told what to do. That is for sure with this child. So some of you here in group 1 may feel like, you're begging this child to clean up their room or do what you told them to, because they do not like taking orders. They have a mind of their own, that is for sure. Now, something else I'm getting here from these cards, group 1, very high energy. I believe I've mentioned that already, but this high energy may also make it difficult for them to focus sometimes, and this may be evident in their school or eventually as they get older into their careers. It's almost like they have this passion, right? But that passion is only extended as far as their interests. Does that make sense? So if they're interested in something, it's almost like a hyper fixation. Like they're going to put all of their focus, all of their attention into whatever has their attention at the moment, but keeping that attention might be hard for this child. They have so much going on in their minds, group 1. They're so in their thoughts that they may bounce around. It's hard to maintain that focus for a long period of time for them. So let's go ahead. I'm going to look at some of my oracle cards now to see what other information I get. So, okay, here's my first one. I'm just going to kind of throw these down willy-nilly. Air. I did say I felt an air energy from this child. This may be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. If they're not that sun sign, they may have that sign featured elsewhere in their charts. And this air card, basically what I was just saying, they might be a little spacey in their head and in their thoughts a lot. It's just they're very cerebral. They have a lot going up. They have a lot going on upstairs. And there's that go-getter energy here as well, group 1. So it's like they want to take on everything. They want to tackle everything. And I think learning to prioritize, learning to set goals and like benchmarks for this child will be a huge thing for you to teach them and to help them develop. Let's see what else. Okay, well, there we go. There's my Gemini card. So again, air sign, Gemini, that's that mutable air energy that comes through so strongly to me here, but there's that fire in here as well somewhere. Gemini kind of confirms what I was saying about how they're very, very intelligent, again, along with air, very cerebral. But with Gemini also comes this ability for communication. So they may be chatty. This might be the child in class that is always getting in trouble for talking out of turn or talking when they're not supposed to, always wanting to make jokes. But for some of them, while there's a side of Gemini that's very lighthearted, when we look at the twin, the opposite end of that is, again, when this child has something they're interested in to focus on, they are the most studious, most attentive. It's this duality here in Gemini where they're passionate, they're fun-loving, but when they're focused in on something, it can be hard for them to maybe let go of that. Now my other cards I got here, okay, so here we have Pluto. Here's some of those control issues that I mentioned before, liking to be in charge, wanting things to go their way. And what I mentioned about sometimes this child may have like hyperfixations. Here we have obsession again. And I almost feel a perfectionist from these cards right now, group 1. This child may often be hard on themselves. They may try to compare themselves to other children, ones they're growing up with or ones that are in class with them. They set very high standards for themselves, and they will be just sorely disappointed if they don't live up to those. Now, something I want to talk about at this point, group 1, I'll see if I have other cards to confirm it, but I am getting the feeling that this child may have siblings. I don't think this will be an only child. Whether they have younger siblings, older siblings, I'm not sure. Even with Gemini here, this could be like a literal twin kind of situation. But I am seeing a sibling. And the other thing I'm getting here, group 1, is that this child may experience a divorce. I don't know if this is like parents divorcing, so you and your partner. I don't know if this is the two of you divorcing. I don't know if eventually down the line when they're grown up, maybe they get a divorce or someone else close to them, maybe a family friend divorces. But there is some sort of divorce, some sort of change here, and it does influence them. I'm almost feeling this kind of reinforce independence within this child, group 1. I hope that makes sense, because I mean, Seven of Wands imagery here, the Eight of Swords, they are very independent. Like I said, they like being in charge, they like calling the shots, so they may not always like working with others or being with others. They're definitely social, but there is an energy of self-reliance here, and I feel like the sibling influenced that, or this divorce influences that heavily, group one, where they're like, okay, no problem, I'll take care of myself, I got it. And now this is, I'm not saying, a toddler is obviously having these thoughts, but just over the course of this child's life, I do feel independence becomes something that they almost pride themselves on, that they're very self-reliant, self-sufficient. Let's see what else I have here, group one. So this is the second house. This is all about your personal resources, what you value in yourself, material belongings, but also your beliefs. And with these cards here, I almost feel, group one, that this child may have beliefs that are considered different. Maybe they're different from yours, different from mainstream society. Whatever those beliefs are, this child may end up feeling like an outsider or the black sheep. They obviously hold this belief near and dear to their heart. They hold it close, right? Because the Seven of Wands, they're not afraid to stand up for their beliefs, for their causes. I just feel like that belief might be something that is a bit different, and that causes them to feel a little misunderstood at times. Again, I'm not talking about a newborn baby having these thoughts, of course. This is more so when they've gotten older a bit, but this child will have a belief that is either different from yours or different from what's considered normal. This may be a different religion, a different view on spirituality, even perhaps a different style, a different type of lifestyle. My last card, I don't know where to throw this. I'm gonna just throw it on top. This is Leo. Okay, so there's my fire that I said was in here somewhere. It doesn't have to be Leo that is in this child's chart, but it very well may be. Could also be Aries or Sagittarius, especially because I did feel that mutable energy, so it could be Sag. But here's the fire, here's that scrappiness, here's that leadership. This card literally says, do what you want to, do what you want. And then on the top here, the self-confidence to create. So this is, again, that leadership, that passion, that fearlessness of engaging someone who believes differently than them. And especially, Leo, I think of obviously lions, and they stick together in their prides. Defending family is big because we have 10 of Cups here too. So nobody better disrespect this child's family, their friends, because they are down to throw hands immediately for their loved ones. You don't mess with their family, you don't mess with their pride. You have a little defender here, group one. Now, the other thing I will say with Leo being here, and even these tarot cards give me that impression as well, this child may be concerned with their physical appearance, especially when they get older. They want to look good, but they also want to stand out. They don't mind having a feature or dressing a certain way that will get attention, because this here, Leo, they like that recognition. They like knowing that they look good, and that is something that directly affects their confidence as well. I'm not trying to say this child is vain at all, group one. They just like to look nice, and I don't see any problem with that. Now, I will point out as well here, group one, that they may be known for their hair. I'm sorry, maybe they change their hair color a lot, or they'll want to dye their hair funky colors. They'll want to change the style. They're not afraid to mix it up, but their hair, there's something about their hair that definitely stands out, and they pay close attention to it. So my last three cards, I'm gonna just throw on here. I have Shapeshifter, Scribe, and Pioneer. So these three actually go beautifully. Shapeshifter is my mutable energy card. The ability to adapt, change with the circumstances. They can navigate different types of people in different situations very easily. Scribe, they're intelligent, good with words, this being the written word, but I feel with Gemini and Air, they're probably good, speaking and talking as well. This again, I feel is intellect as well. I keep saying it, I'll say it one more time. This is a very, very intelligent child. And to further enforce that for me is our final card, which is Pioneer. The words on here being passion, for doing and creating what has not been done before. So that's kind of like what I was saying about this child having a belief system that may be different, how they want to stand out physically. They want to shake things up. This child is a mover and a shaker, okay, group 1? They want to make a difference. They want to make changes. They'll fight for those changes. Okay, so that's what I have for you, group 1. Please keep in mind, I always say this, that this is a large general reading, so not all aspects may resonate with you 100%, but this is what I'm seeing for your future child, group 1. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me, and I will catch you next time. Okay, group number 2, if you selected the Sodalite piece. Here I have your 3 tarot cards. I'll go over these, and then I also have a stack of oracle cards I'll pull to further clarify the information we get here. So let's talk about your future child, group 2. Let's get into it, shall we? We have the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the Six of Pentacles. So right off the bat, Holy Fire sign. Group 2, your baby, I feel, will be either an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius. I feel strongly that'll be their sun sign, but it may just be featured elsewhere in their chart. But let's see. Let's talk about this fire baby. Kind of comes with the territory, but I would say this child to be very passionate, very enthusiastic, and expressive. You know, I feel like their emotions may be very easily picked up on. They're not going to be very good at hiding them. If they're sad, you're gonna know it, especially with this fire influence. We may be talking temper tantrums, just maybe some meltdowns, you know, if they're tired, if they're angry, if they're sad, just everything is going to be very expressive, the good and the bad. Now, I do want to say for this child, I feel them, group 2, to just be very warm, very bubbly, charming. People are probably going to just like this child, group 2. There is something very endearing about them that just pulls people in. They feel good around this energy. Now, I also want to point out that I am seeing this child to be very rambunctious, very playful, the type of kid that you just want to tell to go run around, go play outside. They just have a lot of energy. Now, they're also very active, you know, in their mind, with their creativity and with their imagination. It's very vivid. They might even have something like an imaginary friend. Or even getting like a doll or some sort of play toy that they're gonna treat that as a friend. They're gonna take that thing everywhere, group 2. Now let's see, what else do I get here? Just from these tarot cards. I do feel them to be optimistic, just like this positive force. They're optimistic, they're very, very loyal, and I also feel them to be, how do I say this, a people pleaser. They want to make you happy as the parents. They want to please their parents, they want to please their teachers, they want their friends to like them. Just being happy and being liked is very important to this child as they grow up. They want to make others smile. They're just like this little ray of sunshine, group 2. Except for when they're grumpy, then they're like a thunderstorm. But let's pull my oracle cards here and see what else I'm getting. So my first one here is going to be the 8th house. Now this is a card I associate with passion as well. But what I also get from the 8th house, and I look at that with the Knight of Wands here, I'm almost wondering if this child, as they grow up, they might really enjoy traveling. They may also like exploring the taboo, the unknown. You know what I think of right away is there was this show on Netflix called like The Dark Traveler or Dark. He basically went and tried to explore places that were haunted or had like these bad, terrible things happen. Just things that seem like no one else would want to go to. And that's almost what I'm getting here. Like they're unafraid to explore where others wouldn't want to go, whether that's like a physical place or even places in our thoughts and in our heads. I'm sorry, that got really intense really fast. But that's what I'm getting from the 8th house. And something else from that, actually, their relationships, you know, as much as they want to get along with everybody, I think they'll have a select group of people, whether that includes you or maybe a close friend. It's like they have many friends, but there's only a very select few that know the true them deep down. Is that going to make, you know what I'm saying, group 2? So it is. It's like friends with many, and then just those select few individuals that they really reveal everything to. Anyway, let's keep going. Here, my next card is going to be Jupiter. I love this, actually. It actually went well with as far as wanting to travel and explore new things, but this is also my card of a great sense of humor. Like I said, this child wants to make others laugh. They want to make others smile. It's right here, it says be positive. So they are this optimistic, very open-minded individual here, group 2. And they're probably going to do really well in school, but with the more artistic classes. So, I mean, they could possibly do well in any variety of subjects, but I'm feeling especially classes like your language arts, your writing, your music, drama, just those more right-brained classes. I feel like this child is really going to excel in. My next card is here with Cancer, and I love seeing Cancer here because I do feel this group, like I mentioned, those mood swings. When they're happy, happy, but when they, even as a toddler, when they're tired, when they're grumpy, when they're upset, Cancer here, this is those mood swings, and they may be dramatic, or they may be like a dramatic shift from one mood to the other, or it may just be they're dramatic. If something bad goes wrong, they burst into tears and throw a fit, have a meltdown. When they're angry, they're ready to go, especially with this fire energy. But this, it just tells me they feel things very strongly. That's that passion again, for better or worse. They feel strongly, and they're highly expressive with that. It is not something they can hide. You're gonna know what they're feeling, and that, I feel, is something from infancy. Even as they continue growing up, you're going to know what is on this child's mind. The other thing I want to consider from these 3 oracle cards, even the 6 of Pentacles, the Knight, I feel like this child may be devoted to a specific religion or belief. They may be really into spirituality or enjoy going to whatever the religious services that they're a part of. But this is definitely the energy of someone who has very strong core beliefs, and it's something that they try to incorporate throughout their whole life. I don't see this as a phase or something that comes and goes for this child. I feel them to be committed and a part of that belief or that religion lifelong. Okay, let's see what else I have. So my next card, A, is Aries. There's my fire sign. Okay, like I said, fire energy could be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Here we have Aries. This again speaks to their passion. It speaks to their drive, as we see with the Knight and the Page. That kind of ambition and that just inner motivation they may seem to summon out of nowhere. I feel like this child, group 2, is always going to be up for anything, always down to go anywhere, always up to do whatever with you or with their friends. This child has just like this seemingly endless pool of energy that they can pull from to keep going, like a little Energizer bunny almost. Okay, group 2. Here I have Uranus. Now with Uranus here, I almost feel like it is corresponding with Cancer and maybe even the 8th house, referring to the kind of unpredictable reactions or those mood swings that I had mentioned. But the other thing here is that Uranus can feel comfortable in the 8th house. At least I feel it can. It's that fearlessness of investigating or exploring the unknown, the taboo, the occult. And that may be what this is actually referring to. I said they were committed or devoted to some sort of belief or spiritual path. But with Uranus here in the 8th house, that spiritual path may be just that. It might not be an organized religion that they're attached to, but it could be. But for some of you, I feel like it's more along the lines of what's really taking off right now as far as astrology and tarot and other forms of divination and exploring your spirituality that way. The Uranus likes to do things different, mix it up a little bit. And the 8th house is things considered taboo. But we'll see. That's kind of what I'm getting from Uranus here. I'm looking. Okay, this is getting really deep, group 2, but these three all happening to be right here on this side, I'm almost wondering if this will be, this child may experience like random inheritances, random money coming their way. But it's the same, going both ways. They may gain these inheritances, but they also may lose money randomly. Now, of course, I'm not talking about your toddler or anything here. I'm talking about this child as they've gotten older, as they age. I feel like throughout their life, money's going to be kind of unpredictable, I guess. They may lose a bunch of money for a period of time, and then all of a sudden they get this random surge of income from something else. They're just going to be going back and forth as far as their finances are concerned. But ultimately, Jupiter's a giant benefic here. This is a planet of blessings. So I feel it working out in their favor. I feel like eventually things will even out and be all right for them in regards to their finances, but for a long time it's going to be back and forth. And regardless of how hard they try, I feel like that money is going to come to them through other people, because the 8th house is the resources that we share with others. So it may be coming from you, from their grandparents, but from outside sources is where they're going to be getting this like inheritance or just support. Interesting. Let's keep going. So my oracle card here is going to say teacher. Like I said, I do feel them doing well in school. This speaks to them being good communicators. It even says on here the ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, wisdom. They're able to not only understand where others are coming from, but also explain their own beliefs or their own thoughts. They're just a good communicator. They're open-minded. And there's an empathy here, I think, that goes along with the open-mindedness. Let's see what else I have. Okay, here's my, what is that now? My 3rd religious card? 4th? Oh my gosh. Again, the words here, devotion and dedication to spirit. Again, this is going to be different for everybody because this is such a large general reading. This could be referring to a more organized religion or just a spiritual belief or lifestyle, but that is a huge part of their life. Clearly, I mean, so many religious cards. And then, the last one here is going to be the Fool. Goes along with Jupiter and this fire energy I've seen, even Uranus. They're going to have a good sense of humor. They like making others laugh. They're very, as I mentioned in the very beginning, kind of people please. They're very eager to please, and they're always wanting to help and be there. But this is so cute. This is a good sense of humor, making others laugh. The last thing I'm going to point out here for you, Group 2, is that this child may end up being some sort of, if we look at this literally, some sort of spiritual teacher, because they have the passion, they have the likability, they know how to communicate. They may end up teaching others how to be devoted or committed like they are, or to help others get in touch with or understand their own beliefs or spirituality. Very interesting. And that is what I'm seeing here for you, Group 2. This is what I'm getting for your future child right now. I will add, as I always do, that not everything may resonate with you 100%, and it's totally okay and absolutely normal. Take what does resonate and then leave the rest for somebody else, okay? I appreciate you checking this out, and I will see you next time. Okay, so if you chose the tumbled fluorite or Group 3, here we are. These are the tarot cards that I've pulled for you, and in a minute, I'm going to go over the oracle cards that I also have to further clarify any information we get. So, let's talk about you, baby, Group 3. The cards that I have for you are going to be the Chariot, the 3 of Cups, and the Empress. Right off the bat, I do feel this child to have feminine energy. There's no denying it. I wouldn't necessarily say female, but definitely strong feminine energy from this child, Group 3. I also want to say from these that I feel them to be a water sign. They may be a Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio. Cancer especially because of the Chariot here. But they may have that as their sun sign, or they just may have a very water-heavy chart. So as far as personality goes, let's see what I'm getting from here, Group 3. I feel them to be very diligent, very mature, like self-composed. They carry themselves with an elegance, with a grace. And on top of that, they're also very affectionate. They're compassionate, especially with their friends and their loved ones. They're just this very tender, gentle feeling soul. Now, some people, as this child ages, they may consider them to be brave or like fearless, but although that it may be very true, it's mostly as though it's like their self-assurance. It's like this quiet self-confidence where they're not necessarily brave. They're not one to take these foolish risks or act without considering consequences. They're just very quietly and calmly like self-assured. I do feel them to often be the center of attention, whether they are this outgoing, bubbly person or not. I don't feel them that way. It just feels like people flock to them. They want to listen to what they have to say. This child will just somehow find their way into the spotlight. They're just so charismatic and genuinely friendly that people will flock to them. In their friend group here, the Three of Cups, their friendships are cherished. I know I talked about water signs, and especially Three of Cups is typically associated with water, but I'm almost wondering if this is like, if they may have some Aquarius influence, just because of how strongly they feel about their friends and how social they are and how these people just seem to be drawn to them. We'll continue going over that. Let's see what oracle cards I have. So the first one I have is going to be the third house. This is kind of a cerebral house. It's about our ideas, how we communicate and think, but also like local trips and, cousins and siblings. So with that being said, because I have a Three of Cups, I have the third house. I do feel that this child may have a sibling. However that sibling comes about is going to be just highly specific to you, but I do feel this to not be an only child, and in fact, for a lot of you, I think this is going to be like a first child. Like this is the first one. They're the oldest, I guess you could say. Now, something else that I get from the third house and the Three of Cups, and then we also have the Empress, which is number 3. Okay, if you follow angel numbers or have been looking into synchronicities or numerology, I can just tell you right now, 333. I have all of these threes right here for you. So if that means something to you, there you have it. If you've been getting a lot of angel numbers or noticing synchronicities here, have another. But I just want to point that out, that is there. As far as the individual interpretation for 333, that will just vary depending on who you ask. So I'd do your own research into that, but we have it here for you guys. Oh my God, and you're in group 3. I just realized that too. Okay, so 3 means something for you guys in this group. Maybe you always pick group number 3, but 3 is following you for sure right now. I'm spooking myself. 333. Okay, group 3. Wild. Anyway, let's continue. What was I even saying? Oh, I was talking about the Three of Cups in the third house. I feel like they may have a lovely voice. Typically, voice is associated with the second house, but I get it here too. And with this imagery here, they may be a great singer. And just beyond that, I feel there's artistic talent here in general. So if that's singing, if the third house is writing in our thought process, this could be poetry, lyrics, just creative writing. There is artistic ability here, and who knows how vast that talent is or to what mediums that talent goes into, but especially singing and something about their voice is different. It stands out. Okay, let's keep going. Interesting. So here I have Saturn. And this kind of speaks to that maturity that I was talking about too, that sense of composure that this child will have. And I almost, you may find yourself saying this to your child, or you may notice that other people say this about this child, but they may be an old soul or appear to be an old soul, that even as like an infant or a toddler, there just seems to be this wisdom in their eyes. Just something about them seems to say that they've seen a lot, or they've already been through a lot and they're a child. So definitely an old soul vibe from here. And it's, for some of you here in group 3, this child is going to have a connection to your ancestors, to those that have passed, especially on the maternal side. I don't know if they have, maybe like this child may not have known their grandmother in real life, but they'll know them spiritually. There's just this very strong spiritual connection to their ancestors, in particular female ancestors or ancestors on the maternal side. Throwing that out there, very specific, but that needed to be said for someone in this group. My other card, didn't I just say Aquarius not too long ago? Anyway, there's Aquarius. So this is what I was saying about Aquarius is always my friendship card. So their connection to their friends, but also a uniqueness, something different in how they express themselves and their voice. The words on here is experiment, eccentricity, unconventional, different. So I do feel that their art especially is going to stand out in some way. Something very different, and with their singing voice as well. I just said, what's new and different about, okay, so there's something new and different about them in whatever kind of route they decide to take with their life. They're gonna stand out. Here I have, oh my gosh, here I have Venus. Again, there's that feminine energy, and there's that artistic talent expressed through Venus again. They are either good at art, whether that's painting or drawing or with words, lyrics. I'm just gonna end up repeating myself, but there is that propensity, that natural born gift and talent for art. And they may doubt themselves with Saturn here. Growing up, this may be something that you have to foster and encourage in this child. Let them know that their art is special and it's okay to be different, because with Saturn here, they may limit themselves. They may feel that it's not good enough and almost hold them back in that sense, especially if we consider Saturn in the 3rd house. Maybe they hold themselves back. They don't say what they want to say. They limit themselves in that area. So growing up, this may be something you have to inspire in them, because I can tell you right now, group 3, this child has an artistic gift, whatever that may be. Wow, okay, what else? Oh my gosh. Here's Aquarius again. I'm just going to put it on top of Aquarius. Second Aquarius card, again, my friendship card. I will just be repeating myself. That's a really strong sign to me, though, that although I do still feel a heavy water influence here, Aquarius is in there as well. Now, something I want to point out that I'm getting from Venus, from the Empress, this child is going to be physically, they're going to be very attractive. As they grow up, they're just going to be attractive in that sense. Even though I said some might see this old soul, with Aquarius influence, it may be a more unconventional type of beauty or type of attractiveness, but there is something very appealing. People, like I said, people are drawn to them. They are the leader in their friend group. They are so social, so compassionate, and I almost feel like they might be in love with love. I wonder here, group 3, with Saturn, with Aquarius, even the Chariot, these aren't great love cards. They're okay, but they're not great. I almost wonder if they're going to have like an issue with having a fantasy surrounding love. This is the way love should be, and they struggle to find that in real life as they go throughout their life. I'm not saying your toddler is looking for the one, but as they age and experience things, they may realize that their expectations for love are so high. Again, that may be something you need to nurture and help them realize that there's different ways to express love, but also they shouldn't settle. Anyway, I'm going off on like personal tangents here. Let's talk about Venus and the Empress. Obviously they go together hand in hand. This almost gives me the impression that they may have an interest in nature or the outdoors. Look at all these flowers here. They may be interested in flowers or gardening, or because we have Aquarius and Saturn, I feel like they're going to be very environmentally conscious, which, thank you, we need, right? Whether that means they're big on recycling and composting, or if they are trying more sustainable living styles, whatever that is, they have a big soft spot for nature and the environment. They may enjoy being out in it, working with it, or even working for it. But as for a profession here, I do want to say group 3, I feel this child will have an interest in the beauty industry as well. All of these here plus Venus screams beauty industry to me, whether that's makeup, hairstyling, skincare. They want to share that beauty, spread the love, and like wanting to make others look and feel good in themselves. What else am I getting here, group 3? So this child, I think eventually they're going to want to have a big family. They may be interested in being a parent, and this may be something that you notice even when they're a baby or a small child. They may want to play house or carry this doll or this baby doll around all the time. I feel like they are going to have an attachment to a doll that they want to take with them everywhere and pretend to be a parent. They just have these very strong kind of parental instincts they're born with, and I see this child wanting to have a family of their own someday. That's a very big goal for them. Let's see what other cards I have here. Okay, so this one is, I can never say this, dilettante? Dilettante, I think it's how you say it. Again, that's another artistic card. That's my artist card, enjoying being in artistic environments. You know, when I mentioned flowers, maybe they'll want to spend time in gardens or parks, art museums, whatever it is, they have an appreciation for beauty. Obviously, that's why I said they may also want to go into that industry. They want to spread beauty, make the world a more beautiful place to live in. Here's visionary here. That could literally be their vision, what I just said. So they have high ideals, like I mentioned, even in regards to romance and love, high expectations. And I don't think that's a bad thing. They're just trying to bring those ideals, and we see that with Aquarius energy as well. Very idealistic and very like socially conscious. And finally, this is interesting to me. So I have guide here. And remember I talked about the ancestor connection that this child is going to have? They may end up having spiritual gifts. I feel like they're going to be able to channel. That just came to me. I feel like they're going to be able to channel. Even look at the spiritual imagery on visionary. I feel channeling. They're somehow able to understand and communicate with spirit. If it's not through channeling, it may be through one of the clairs, but I do sense a spiritual gift here as well, group 3. So that is what I'm seeing here for this child. Wow, I unpacked a lot. I want to point out, group 3, that this is a very large general reading, so not all aspects may resonate with you 100%, but this is the energy I am sensing for this child. I hope you're able to take what does connect with you and then leave the rest for somebody else, okay? Thank you so much for checking this out, and I will see you next time. All right, you guys, so if you are group 4 or if you went with the banded amethyst piece, these are the tarot cards that I have drawn for you. I'm going to go over them, and then after a minute or so, I will utilize my oracle decks as well to pull more cards and gain any further clarity on your future child. So let's do it. Our first card here is the 2 of Swords, then we have Death and the 9 of Pentacles. And if you are seeing this card and panicking, stop it. You stop it right now. Okay, we're gonna go into it. I wanna say that these give me the impression right away that this child prefers solitude. They are incredibly introverted and prefer to keep to themselves. They very strongly value privacy. That is a big thing for them. And you know, even as a toddler or as a baby, you may find that they're not maybe as talkative or as outgoing. I just generally feel this child to be a bit more reserved and really keep to themselves. Group 4, this is major earth sign energy. I want to make that clear. I am getting from these cards just so far a very heavy Virgo and Capricorn vibe. Taurus is also an earth sign, but I don't feel it as strongly here. We'll see what my other cards say, but just initially I'm feeling very strongly that this is an earth sign child. And along that vein, I feel them to be quite the overthinker, the overanalyzer. I mean, look at the imagery of this skeleton here on Death. He looks like he's really reconsidering his whole life. And with the Two of Swords, this is sitting in contemplation, kind of at an impasse, but I may go further on that. But just a lot of feeling stuck in their head, very much an overthinker, okay? They could have issues just allowing themselves to feel. This energy screams to me as, a child that's always going to want to rationalize their emotions or try to make sense of what they're feeling instead of just embracing that feeling for what it is. So that may be something that you as a parent have to help nurture and develop with this child, that it's okay to just feel sometimes and you don't always have to rationalize it. So let's see what oracle cards I have for you, Group 4. My first one is going to be the 10th house. This is the house of your career, your destiny, kind of like your reputation, what you're known for, your status. It has associations with Capricorn, which again is earth sign energy. I also get from this card that they have strong leadership potential. Again, it may require getting them out of their shell, but the potential for it is there because they are incredibly self-disciplined and they are very self-aware. And this may be something that you notice from even an early age, that they just seem a bit more mature than maybe the other children. Okay, my next card is, so here's Scorpio. It's kind of funny because Scorpio even says secrets. They too really enjoy and prefer their privacy. They want their privacy respected. And the Scorpion, although it is a water sign, it, along with Cancer, they have those protective shells. And I feel like that is something that you have to work on with this child, is taking them out of that shell to help them feel comfortable with opening up and being vulnerable emotionally. But there is something very magnetic about this child. And it's really weird because I see death in the 10th house, and I wonder if this child feels like they have to change their destiny or change their fate. They may go through some transformation. I'm gonna try to pick up more on that, but that's something that's kind of just, it's poking me right now. I need to come back to that. Let's see. So the other thing that I can get here with Scorpio, with death, Two of Swords, again, just that very active inner life, very contemplative. They may not say much, but in their mind, it's going 100 miles an hour, and they're very busy in their minds, this child is. This could manifest, as they're younger. This may be an imaginary friend, or they just prefer to daydream. I could even see this type of energy get really into video games or a certain show, and that's like their escape. That kind of takes them out of their head, is engaging in these other fictional scenarios, whether it is a video game, a movie, or a book or something. My next card is interesting. Here I have the South Node. Now I'm wondering, this card usually references past lives. It has to do with where we feel comfortable. It's like realms that we've already mastered, so we already feel at home. We already feel we have the talent or the skill. But with the South Node, I also have the words on here, anxiety and trouble, and to also remember and reconsider. What is happening here, Group 4? I've told you, right? That I've never done a child reading before, but I wasn't expecting to get heavy stuff like this. Why? Okay, let me throw this out there. I do feel as though this child may not be gender role conforming, if that makes sense. They may be non-binary, or even, because I have death here, which means transformation or transition. I think I am taking this literally here in this case, Group 4, where this child may end up being trans for some of you. And that is obviously a huge part of their life that they'll need your love and support through. But because this Two of Swords here is like stuck at an impasse, unable to decide, unable to choose. I remember what I said about changing your destiny, changing your fate. For some of you, this child may come out in that way as non-binary or as trans, changing, obviously, that destiny, changing their future. And I'm wondering, with the South Node, this is typically a karmic point, and Scorpio can be as well. I don't think the karma is related to that. I'm sorry, I should have clarified. I'm kind of moving on. I don't think the karma is related to the coming out necessarily, but it is related to something, so I'm going to keep pulling because there is something karmic here with this child, group 4. Okay, I went ahead and I pulled both of these, and I think they go hand in hand. So this is my karmic issue here, group 4. This child may have issues with the father figure or with authority figures in general. And it's not, I don't see this as having issues like they're being blatantly disrespectful. It's almost like they know that they're this old soul, that they're mature, and it's like they like to treat everybody as equals. But obviously if you're a young student, you shouldn't be treating your teacher like you're on the same level, right? But they definitely feel respect is earned and not given. That came through. Respect is earned and not given, and that's why they may have these power struggles with authority figures or with the father figure. And that's something that goes back into past lives. That feels very karmic to me, group 4. Sorry, I did not mean to get so heavy with this group. Let's keep going. Let's see what else I'm getting here for you. With this, Scorpio and Pluto, even with death up here, I feel like this child may be drawn towards things that are considered more dark. This has like a goth type of feel to me almost for some of you here, where this child likes the occult, or there's definitely an interest in the taboo. And now that this is group 4, I think most of these groups, the children have had an interest in spirituality or the occult. And I think that is awesome for these future generations. But anyway, I do feel them to, I guess, they're not scared of any ghosts. They're not scared of these things. My card here is Seeker, and it says a thirst for wisdom and truth. So I think they are looking for truth, in themselves, with the sun here representing ego in the self. So they're seeking truth in themselves, maybe through that transition or through their coming out. They're seeking for truth in who they are. But there's also just a truth in life in general. I said this is a very intelligent, very introspective child. So they may be someone who's constantly looking for more in everything and everywhere. And something that just came to me now, group 4. Sorry, we're kind of taking a left turn real quick. We'll get back on track. But I do want to point out, all of these cards indicate to me that 1, this child has a very long, healthy life. 2, I feel like this child will grow up and definitely have a financial security and stability in their life. It may take some getting there, because I do also feel like they're going to go through maybe multiple intense transformations, especially because we have death, Scorpio, and Pluto all here. That may kind of be a definitive thing for this child's life, is that they're constantly evolving, constantly learning from, whether it's mistakes or just whatever doesn't work for them. They're just constantly growing and transforming themselves. That is a huge cornerstone for this child's life, group 4. But I do ultimately see a financial stability and maybe even some sort of recognition and success here, because we do have the 10th house. My other card here is going to say Hermit, associated with Virgo, Mercurial energy. Again, just seeking solitude and focus on the inner life, kind of just confirming everything I've been saying so far. Finally, my last card here is going to be Warrior, and I love seeing this here. Basically, these words I'm pretty sure I've used in this reading so far. Just inner strength, skill, discipline, and just that toughness and strength of will. And even at the bottom, I said, what's it say? It says conquering the ego. Well, here's ego right here. So Warrior, through all of these transformations and these obstacles and the challenges that this child may face in their life, group 4, they come out on top. They are strong, they are capable, they are so intelligent, and also very observant. They've got this interesting karma situation going on over here that, they'll probably need your help learning from, or kind of unraveling even. So ultimately though, group 4, I do see this child being successful, financially secure. I see them living a long, happy life. It's just figuring out the truth for themselves when they're young and getting on that correct course to be whatever they want to be, become whoever that is. It's like a search for authenticity is what I'm getting, a search to be genuine, a searching for authenticity in their lives. That is what I'm getting from group 4. Wow, this was a really powerful, heavy reading, you guys. And this child will be lucky to have you as a parent, okay, you guys? I want to always point out that this is a large general reading, so not everything may resonate or connect with you 100%. That is a-okay, totally normal. Take what does and leave the rest for someone else, all right? I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on my channel, and I will see you next time. Thanks, Foxy. You look good, girl. You look good, Foxy girl. God, breathe.